Hi guys, and welcome back to Dudley Central. This is the December 2021 layout update. I've got quite a few little bits to show you that I've been up to over the last couple of months. You'll see there's been quite a few changes around the layout, and I've got a couple of the not so interesting jobs finished, but now I can really enjoy running in the trains, and I can really get my head into getting the scenery in place. I've got some ideas to share with you, and it'd be good to get your thoughts on what I'm planning. I've also had a couple of new additions, namely the one in front of you is one of them. They are of course the Rapido Leyland Fleetlines, and I'll give you a closer look at those during the video as well. So I hope you like what you see. As always, really appreciate your comments and thoughts, and a Merry Christmas as well. So one of the jobs I've had for the last few months has been wiring and doing the sleeper spacing, and it has been the bane of my life, if I'm honest, but I am making quite a bit of headway with it now. I set myself the target of just getting this whole side finished. I thought actually if I break this down and just focus on one side of the layout, it doesn't seem as big a task as it actually is. So that's what I've done. So I've got this platform, so platform 4, 3, 2 and 1, they're all done, all spaced, all wired up, and that's given me much better running now, much better electrical pickup from all the locos. I'm not having any issues along this side of the layout anymore, so that's brilliant, and I'll show you some running clips later on. But yeah, so all I've done is I've focused in on getting this side all in as well. So I've added a bit of super elevation along here as well, and trains approach this quite nicely now, and they negate the station. I've also added a platform as well. I'll just move the camera. So you can see there I've added a platform. All it is a couple of bits of 9mm ply which I had left lying around. Whether I'll go with ply in the end I don't know, but I just grabbed these pieces together just so I could picture how the station's going to sit. My idea at the moment is I might have a little sort of bus stop there, or perhaps a taxi rank. I'm not really sure about this area. These are just some old buildings I've had from previous layouts. At the moment they're just kind of holding that place, but I've not decided what I'm doing with that one yet. But as I say, the station, that's what I'm thinking of doing. I've also, I think in the last video I had the main station building. I went away and actually bought the matching canopy as well. Got that quite cheap, and I think it just makes the station a little bit more prominent, and for me it looks a little bit more like Wolverhampton now, so there's a bit more in-fitting for the layout, and it definitely suits the era down to a T. Another thing some of you may recognise is the retaining wall at the back. That is off the old layout. I've had it there just gathering dust. I quite like it there actually. Well, I'll definitely work the scenery in behind it, but something I really liked from the old layout was taking shots of the units just sitting in front of it. And I think it fits in quite nicely there. Obviously the boards and things will have to come off. I've also got, you'll see the little concrete strip just running along the top there. That used to support the overall roof. I'm going to leave that in actually, because I quite like the idea of showing that this station has been sort of stripped back. You know, it's ended up with this concrete monstrosity over here, and it just looks as if that's just been left there. There's little bits like that all over the network. Birmingham Snow Hill's a good example of that, actually, where the original part of the station, there's little clues left in certain places. And it also allows me to, at some point in the future, if I decide to put a roof on, it gives that option as well. But yeah, as I say, the station's starting to come together now. Obviously I had the platform edging down in the last video. One thing I will be looking to do over the next few months is to actually add some surfaces and station items. So one other little bit that I've recently undertaken is actually creating an automated section on the layout, and that is for platform 1, which is predominantly just used by DMU units. The reason I went for this was that I realised in my running sessions I just wasn't enjoying constantly controlling the unit, whether to change the direction, slow it down, make it start again. Automation's something I've never really really had an interest in before. I never really saw the point. I always thought controlling it with the controller's the most fun, but actually for me on this layout, it's really opened up this terminating platform now. It's getting used all the time. The train automatically stops, it changes direction, and yeah, it was so easy to do as well. So all I've used is bring that into focus. So it's the DCC Concepts ABC modules, and inside the unit is a Zen decoder. So there you go, you can see it's just changed direction by itself and away it goes. So essentially it acts like a diode, and what I've got just over here is I've got a plastic rail insulator just between the two rails there, and what that does is it creates a break in that connectivity. And on this side of the track I've got a wire which goes to the bus wire, and then it goes via this module. If you imagine that here, the wire goes into that module, and then one comes out and connects to this isolated section here, and that's how the DCC decoder actually recognises that the train is in a braking section, and for me a shuttle section as well. But yeah, on the decoder, as long as you've got a controller which can change CVs, all you have to do is just change CV27, and on there you just change it, I think it was to number 4, and then there's other options on your CVs, for how long the train actually stops for, the rate at which it brakes or accelerates. Now at the moment this unit is just on its default. It's just what the decoder came with. One thing I have found with it is that it keeps the interior lights off for some reason. So function 2 and 3 just aren't working for me. I'm not sure if anyone else has come across that, but as far as I was aware, the decoder should cover those 6 functions. So it might just be something within the CVs I need to alter, and then I'll get the full potential of the class 121. But as I say, the head and tail lights and one of the cab lights are all working, so it might just be I need to pop the body off and see if there's anything going on inside. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it. If anyone's got a layout like this and they've got a little branch just running in, yeah, I think go for a little shuttle, because it makes it more fun to watch and video, and yeah. So one other thing I forgot to mention was that the unit itself, you can take control whenever you like. So it can just be parked up in the station like it is now, and it won't move until I activate its movements, and so that's just moving the throttle. And again, as soon as it enters one of those isolated sections again, it will start doing the automatic brake control. I believe actually if you change one of the little headers on here, doesn't want to focus, does it today? Yeah, it's upside down. If you move the red and blue headers yourself, you can turn off the sort of automatic brake control. I probably won't do that myself now because I've got this system set up, and as I say, this 121 will pretty much stay on the branch most of the time. I will look to get some of my 153s and possibly 150s with a Zen chip as well, so that they can use this little shuttle run if I want to. But as I say, for now I'm sticking with this one. I'll try and get that issue with the interior lights figured out, and yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. So we're now down to the left hand corner of the layout. This one has changed several times in the last few updates, but I now think I've reached a setup that I'm happy with. So one thing you'll notice here is that the bus garage, which was historically here, is now gone. It's gone somewhere else on the layout, and this is now a big open space. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with this yet. It might be a small sort of network rail, sort of rail track sort of site, you know, with a small sort of possibly porter cabins or a fabricated building, and just somewhere where there's little vehicles that are parked up. I don't want something too obtrusive, because I still want to get good shots of the trains running past. But at the moment that is the only area I've not quite sussed out yet on the layout. As we look back, one thing you'll also notice is I've painted the back scene on this side of the layout. I've gone for, I think it was called Cloudless from Wilco. It was quite cheap. I think it's £12 for a great big pot, and it seems like a good match for Sky, so I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, back onto the baseboard itself, what I've done is I've purchased this little signal box. It is a Bachmann Scenecraft Hampton Hill signal box. I just think it's a really cool design. I quite like it. I think Peter Dixon from Torridon Road, he's got it on his layout. I think it looked really cool, so I fancied one myself as well. And again, it just creates another little scene in between the tracks, makes it a bit more interesting. So I've had a bit of a rummage in my detail box. I found some old relay cabinets that I've had. I've got some of the cable trunking as well, so some of that's the Wills range, and I've got scale model scenery as well, and I'll probably mix and match that just to make some visual interest. But yeah, that's going to be it. I've got a little line side hut in there as well. I would quite like to get the matching one for Hampton Hill. I know there's a Hampton Hill plate layers hut as well. It's just a bit tricky to track that one down at the moment, but that is where I'm thinking of having it as well. My thinking with this little network rail yard is that I may do some little walkways that cross the track here, and I'll also have a walkway which comes past the cabinets across the one section of track here and link it up to the platform. That's similar to what Stourbridge Junction has. So again, just keep looking at the prototype to sort of take inspiration for that. But overall I'm quite happy with how this is coming together. This big section of track here, that's taken a long time to just get sleepers done, all wired up. And as I say, with the super elevation, it's quite nice now watching a train shoot past in front of a signal box, and indeed behind as well. And then the other scene, which is slightly further back, and that comes into focus. So What I had lying around, I think we had some furniture come recently, and I just had some of this polystyrene, and I thought I could do something with that. So one thing I've always wanted for the layout was a castle, because of course Dudley does have a castle. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to use the Metcalfe Dudley Castle Gateway kit, which is there. That is the footprint of it at the moment, and I've just sort of sized up that polystyrene so it fits in the corner. It will be shaped. I'll need to get some plaster on that to give it some contours and, you know, footpaths and what have you. And then in front of that I'm going to have just where these cardboard sections are, that's going to be some stone walling, just so it kind of fits in with the railway next to it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to developing this scene a bit more. I might do a video covering that build. I've got a brand new static grass applicator which I'm quite keen to get going with, and this is a perfect opportunity for that. So this scene is one of my favourites. It is of course a bus garage, and again I've moved it but this is where it's staying now. I moved it because I wanted space to show off my my collection. I've got quite a few West Midlands buses. It was a shame to have them all packed away. I thought having them all packed on a street doesn't look very realistic, so I wanted somewhere where I could showcase them. The Rapido Fleetlines were a bit of a motivator to get this scene done as well. It's by no means complete. I've still got lots of detailing to do, but it's something I've really enjoyed putting together. So this garage building here, again I've had this one for a few years now. It's a Scale Scenes bus garage, and I've customised the signage myself. I've just gone onto Google, found the appropriate period logos, so I've gone with West Midlands Travel, which is perfect for all my Fleetlines and most of my Metro buses as well. This garage, it's not got its light on at the moment, but there is a light on inside, and of course the Fleetline bus also lights up, as does the Guy Arab, so it looks quite cool at night. Particularly with the light up buses on the inside. But I've spent ages researching different bus garages across the West Midlands, so it's quite normal for it to have about 6 or 7 buses just lined up just to the side of the garage. As I say, I've added the logo there as well, so look, I think that looks kind of cool. And what I'm thinking here is that they're not parked up as I'd want them, but the idea is I might have the sort of mini buses just parked up here. That might be possibly a fuel pickup area, or a washer. I've got a similar kind of area on the other side of the garage over here. What I was also thinking as well, so I mean it looks a bit disorganised actually at the moment when I look at it. I'll put some pictures up now of where it's properly organised, but what I was thinking was this side of the garage is going to be kind of the operational fleet of buses. The other side, which is slightly smaller, that's going to be the heritage sort of side, so you know, with the Guy Arabs, the Midland Red bus as well. So it just makes it a little bit more interesting, and it gives a good excuse to get some older types of Birmingham bus on the layout as well. But as I say, really fun. The sheets at the moment, they're just Scale Scenes printout sheets. The tarmac look quite good, but I think at some point I may go back to the AK asphalt terrain paint to give a nice convincing surface. But for now it definitely does the job, and I look forward to adding more detail to it. So in terms of behind that scene, as you can see, I've stopped with the sky. That needs to keep going all the way around. At the moment this track is kind of in a temporary state, where you can see the 121 at the moment. That's its temporary shuttle limit. That will continue round to the right, but at the moment I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I had originally considered, I'm just going to step in front of the camera, actually having a point around here and another track diverging off. I'll tell you why in a minute. So if I pan out, as you can see, there is a gap in the baseboard, not baseboard, back seam board over there. Now originally I had planned for the siding to split into two, and one go into the fiddle yard and one go round to the other side of a layout, which I'll show you when we get round there. My plan was that this, where the 121 is, that it's going to go up on an embankment and slightly raise. So this board is actually cut to size so that a unit could fit through. I think I've cut it so that you'll see these inclines that I've made. So this is a 40mm incline piece, and that fits just there, and I can have my trains run under that scene there on the embankment, running up the curve. Now what I had done was I had this track running up that incline, and then I had the other one running behind the embankment into the fiddle yard. However, now that I've got this unit running back and forwards, I'm now thinking that might clutter up that back scene area, and it might ruin it. One sort of thing I want to get away from, particularly this area, is a lot of track, and I'm worried that I'm creating the same sort of situation over here. So now what I'm thinking is that actually that temporary shuttle I may keep like that and just have that one go through the board. I'll be able to hide that gap with hillside and what have you, and actually that the fiddle yard is only accessible from the other end, which I think originally I kind of decided not to do, because you know you could run your trains through the fiddle yard through one end and out the other, but I just think it might ruin the scenery. It'd be good to get your opinions on that, and yeah, just stick with a simple branch line just disappearing. Again, just on the subject of the shuttle, so on here you can actually see the little DCC Concepts module there, and you can see the kind of stopping distance that the unit takes. That is something you need to consider, particularly if you're building an end-to-end and you've got a station at either end, because you've got to work out if the train's actually going to reach the platform. Again, just these little nuances I'm learning as I'm going. So this side of the layout, I've done a little bit of work at the other end, which I'll show you in a minute. However, this end here has received very little attention indeed. As you can see, the cork is just kind of sitting underneath the track, not particularly laid well at all. So the train's still running along it absolutely fine. I will target this next, I think, with the cork and the sleeper laying, but for now I'm just enjoying the trains running. But what I'm trying to achieve with this is, as I say, I've got the fiddle yard just behind this board, so I've only got a foot on this side of the layout. I wanted something with less track, less points, so these trains here don't represent what's going to be there. I kind of want this to be a bit more green, possibly have some allotments, possibly have like a small little unit like that, but that's it. I want something nice and simple, just to kind of be a bit different to the other side of a layout, which is quite built up. As I say, I've left this one till last because I've just not quite figured this side out yet. One thing I have done is just to make the curve, the tracks actually go under the back scene to get round. Now the reason I've done that, and I figured this out pretty early on actually, was that when you get to the viaduct over there, which is, I do apologise, a complete mess, is that to make that turn, particularly for the steam locomotives and some of the Cocoa diesels, it wasn't happy, so I needed to get a kind of radius that was acceptable, and then I wanted a nice smooth curve coming out of there as well. Okay, so you may have spotted it in the last camera shot, but this is, I guess, the most scenic part of the layout, and this is my new station which is going on the layout. It's based on Stourbridge town, but from pre-1994, so it didn't have, basically now the platform is on this side, but historically it was on that side, and what you've got in the distance would have been Stourbridge bus station. Now the basis of this layout, actually this used to be the old layout. So this track here used to be platform 2 of the original Dudley Central, and I thought it would be a shame to lose it. It'd be a shame to lose all that sort of work with the, you know, the woodwork. It's not the best woodwork, but I saw an opportunity to do it. I've just loved doing all the research about Stourbridge town, so I've done the kind of wall, the same height and everything, so I've measured absolutely everything, so it's kind of to scale. I will probably scratch build the little shelter, a little cabin that was there at the time, but as I say, from a scale point of view, it's very close to what Stourbridge town used to be. There's still plenty of detailing to go. The way that the layout has worked out is there is a bit of a gap behind this board and the back scene, so I will need to find something to bridge that gap. One thing I will do is, behind this hedge, is build a low relief church behind there, as it is in Stourbridge. I forget the name of it, and my West Midlands compatriots will be shouting at me now, but as I say, here's the plan. So that 121 at the moment, the idea is that it's going to cross, it's going to curve, and about where that retaining wall is, it's going to go through the board, across a bridge, across the main lines. It's going to come out just over there. So where we were before with the other 121, that embankment, it's already started to raise, and it will come in just where that class 47 is under there, and it's going to run up an incline behind the boards, and it's going to come out about here, and it's going to meet the Stourbridge town module, as it were, over there. The other thing I've done as well is I've built this this board so it's actually removable. So all of this I'm not going to demonstrate, but you can lift that and it'll come straight off. Now I quite like the idea of possibly taking this out with me if I ever take it to an exhibition, or you know, just a demo layout. It'd just be nice to take it with me, so that's something I've built into it. But yeah, it's been good fun, and it'll be nice to show you this scene develop. And that's it. That is as far as I've got since the last time I showed you the layout. I'm really enjoying it at the moment. All the trains are running as they should, and as I say, I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I'll now show you some of the latest additions to the layout, and then give you some running shots. So I think at the start of the video I did show these off. The new additions are all buses, and these are the Rapido Leyland Fleetlines. I've been so excited about these since they were announced. They're absolutely perfect for my layout, but they did last in the West Midlands for a good while. I think during the 70s that's where they started their trade on various routes across the whole of the West Midlands. and they lasted right up till 1997. So yeah, it is kind of in my era. My era extends on a little bit, but you know, predominantly the sort of transition of BR to privatisation, these buses were absolutely still kicking around. So what I've gone for 5 of these. I've got 3 of them in the livery in front of you, which is the blue and silver, and then I've also got 2 in the sort of slightly older blue and cream. Obviously this one here, which is the 74, and the 120, which is over there, both have Dudley on, so that's absolutely ideal for me. I've also got the 449, which is to Brandhall, and that's actually where I used to go to school, so that was nice that that one came out. The other buses, so I've got the 276, which also goes to Dudley via Derby End. That's again in the blue and cream. And then the other one, which is sitting in the garage, is the 11E, which goes to Perry Bar. Now, in all honesty, Perry Bar isn't really that close to Dudley. However, this particular bus, which is number, I think, 7000, is one that has entered preservation. And also this bus, I believe, did transfer to Dudley Garage for a period. So it doesn't sit too, it's not too odd, it's sitting on my layout. And as I say, it looks absolutely fantastic in the garage. I'll put a picture of that up now. And the detail is just sublime. And obviously I think the highlight of it is the headlights and interior lights. I just think it just completes the model. It's bringing bus models in line with the model railway models that we've had for years with lights. Something that's always bugged me is having you know, you have your nighttime shots, you've got your trains all running with lights on, you've got your street lights on, but all of the cars and all the buses have their lights off, and it always looks a bit odd. So I have had the lights off with it, and they just look superb, really do. As I say, all you have to do is connect it to a 9-volt supply. So what I've done is, on this one, because I know there's a bus stop there, I've put a sort of semi-permanent block terminal under there, so the buses, I can just take them off and swap them as I please, like that. This one to the right, I'll just show you from the top. That's just got a 9-volt battery plugged in. It is worthy of note that these originally were sold saying that they could handle 12-volt supply, and I did run these on 12 volts. However, I think Rapido trains put out a recall or kind of alert message to say to just run them on 9 volts. I never had any issue with mine on 12, but I have changed it to a 9-volt plug now for those semi-permanent ones. If I'll just zoom in a bit more. But as I say, it's not just the lights, so the actual detail of the bus is just incredible. So you've got all the sort of detail on the inside, you've got no metal bars through the centre. The rivet detail is just excellent, the livery application as well. As I say, I can't really find too much fault with it. Perhaps, you know, one of the nice things would have been if the destination was illuminated, but you know, it's not a big one. I still think it looks fantastic, and you know, most of the time anyway, I have it on, have the lights all on, but the headlights still stand out during the daylight. Yeah, so those are the Fleetlines. As I say, that they have been my main addition, but buying 5 of them did clean me out. But actually, you know, in terms of value for money, you know, I think these were about 50 quid. You know, the die-cast models which you're getting from other manufacturers at the moment are about the same. They don't come with any lights, and the detail on them, you know, is still pretty good. But you know, down to like the rivets, like on these Rapido models, still not there. And it does make me wonder, you know, this is the kind of level that we could be getting from manufacturers now. I think Rapido have really set the standard, and I hope they do some more. I think obviously the Fleetline's got around the country, so they might do some other liveries. For me, obviously, I'd want more West Midlands units. Just putting a name out there, the number 126, that would be a brilliant addition for my layout as well. But yeah, I would, as I say, some of them have, I think number 7000, that's in preservation, so that could go around the country in theory. So if you wanted an excuse, that's a good one to go for. And so that's it for this update. I'll leave you with some running shots of the layout, and as always, feel free to drop a comment and subscribe, and please have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well. Bye for now.